Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Health Kick with Dr. K. I've got my guest Meghan Légère with us again today, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you
She's
for
a,
having me.
yeah, she is a private chef and kitchen coach. So I'm just gonna if any of you have actually tuned into our previous podcast together that we had in November, we had so much fun, and that's why we decided to do another one. And so if you tuned into that, then yay, you've got the continuation. And if not, I'm just going to have Meghan tell us a little bit more about what a kitchen coach is before we dive in.
Yeah, I was checking out that recording on your YouTube last night, actually, and it's got quite a few views. So
Mhm.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
But yes, I am a kitchen coach, and I developed a program for my clients because I felt that in the world of food and wellness, there was a huge gap. There's a lot of help in terms of recipe reels on Instagram and maybe a nutritionist that you go to that's going to give you a meal plan or a dietitian. But there's no one really in the trenches with you when it's late at night
Mhm.
and you've got those cravings and you open the fridge and it feels hopeless. And so my goal is to really work one-on-one with people that really want to change their life.
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with thyroid disease in 2022 and managed to change my eating and heal my body from it in 6 months. So I have a really personal investment in the work I'm doing, and I believe in it. And it really comprises three different components. So the first is mindset work, which we're actually going to talk a lot about today. Shout out James Clear. And I think that's also a really big missing piece that not everyone tells you is, if you've been eating a certain way your whole life and you identify yourself as a certain person, let's say, I have a really big sweet tooth. That's something that I used to say. You really have to start up here first before you can tackle, what's in your fridge. So mindset work is first. Then we organize your kitchen. So I've studied from Marie Kondo. We kind of make your kitchen more efficient. A lot of people don't realize it can be much easier and faster to put a meal together if you have the right tools and setup. And then, of course, the last part is the actual cooking. So I'm alongside you in the kitchen, kind of like your behind the scenes sidekick, and we
Mhm.
develop recipes for you. So, yeah, it's a comprehensive program.
Awesome. I love that because honestly, even just when I'm working with people, working with them to create a meal plan and we've like worked cohesively and I'm like, yay, this is awesome. And then they go home and they're like, well, I didn't have this ingredient or they were out of stock and this happened and then you're not like able to troubleshoot on the fly, right? So you're really having people learn the skills and really working from the top down, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing when you start talking to people, they've got some limiting beliefs about what they're capable of, right? Maybe you burned something one too many times and now you think you can't do it, you can't cook, or someone made a comment, right? You had a dinner party that was a fail and that's really shook your confidence, or your parents weren't cooks, right? So you just feel completely lost and at odds when you're in the kitchen. Like everyone's coming from a different, personal experience with food. And I try to meet you where you're at and bring you to a place where it's actually pleasurable, you feel more confident, and of course it's health focused. Yeah.
Yeah, so skills that you're building for a lifetime, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So if you guys are joining us today, then part of you resonated with our title, Fallen Off Track 5 Hacks to Get You Back. And so we're glad you're here. We're glad that you're curious. And I was just telling Meghan before we started that I learned what Quitter's Day was, and that it's the second Friday in January when people are just like throwing in the towels after they've made all their New Year's resolutions. They gave it like a good 2 weeks, and they're like, "Yeah, this is not for me." Um, so we're going to kind of dive in and be like, what is going wrong here? And Meghan's going to share about a New Year's revelation that she had.
Yeah, so this is totally relatable. So The year that I changed my health and my life, essentially, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism in February, and I believe it was July that I got back my blood work, and it showed that I had, put it into, I don't know what you want to call it, remission. Like my range for thyroid was back in normal. So
Mhm.
I immediately, I had been eating healthy, like healthy. I immediately went to the drive-through, um,
Mhm.
and got a double cheeseburger from Harvey's. And I share that because this is real life, right? So a lot of influencers you're going to see on Instagram, they're not going to show you the indulgences like that. But
Mhm.
I think it's really unrealistic to think
Mhm.
that 100% of the time you're going to eat healthy. I had been craving a burger like that for a long time. It tasted incredible. And that's kind of one of the joys that came out of this is now when I eat those things, it's really special. Like my mouth is salivating, right? Because it's not
Yes.
something that I do all the time. So it
Mhm.
sort of brought back I don't know, yeah, the indulgence,
Mhm.
enjoyment in food. But um, I immediately got right back on track because my identity was that of a healthy person that eats healthy most of the time. So it didn't send me on some sort of like tailspin binge because I had already sort of solidified who I was.
Mhm.
And I promised myself I would eat healthy all the way till New Year's.
Mhm.
And then I would indulge in my top three things were like a Danish pastry, a donut, and a butter tart. So you
Mm.
should have seen me driving all around the city December 31st. Let's go, baby. Like I went to a gourmet donut shop. I went to a Danish pastry house I think all the way in Oakville, and I
Mhm.
found a butter tart. Brought it home, filmed it all, put it on
Nice.
the kitchen counter, ripped the boxes open, and I took a bite of the donut, and I was devastated. It
Oh, no.
it it was too sweet.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Let me try again." Like, "Let me just hold on." Like, you can't be waiting for this for 6 months and you eat it, and it's like, the satisfaction it used to bring me wasn't there. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "It probably just maybe it's a day-old donut or something. Let me try the Danish." Same thing. Butter tart, even worse, right? The sugar
Mhm.
hit me like, and it was the most devastating, but also, like, extremely satisfying moment because I realized I had changed my palate. Like
Mhm.
I had weaned off of sugar for so long that
Mhm.
I no longer had a sweet tooth. I couldn't handle that. I threw them out. I threw
Yeah.
them out and I hate wasting food, but I couldn't do it.
Yes.
So I always heard that you can do that you can sort of retrain literally your taste buds to not crave sugar and sweets anymore. But I
Yeah.
never really believed it until it happened to me. So I say that story to tell you that like there's hope. Like you can literally change who you are.
Mhm.
Um, and it's exciting, you know. Yes, the 5 hacks. Should we just jump right in? I can.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one, and these are all things that I've learned. Again, I'm not taking credit for this. It's from Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Mhm.
And it's a bestseller book. If you don't know about it already, I highly recommend you go to your library or bookstore or Audible to grab it. And he talks about laws of behavior change. So that's what we're going to go into today. The first one is making healthy eating convenient.
Mhm.
So we need to make it as easy as possible on ourselves to make the right decisions. And that starts in your kitchen. So he actually cites a specific example in the book of apples. He kept
Mhm.
buying apples and he would take them home from the grocery store. He would put them in his fridge in the crisper drawer, and he would never open that again, and they would go bad and they wouldn't get eaten.
Yeah.
So we've all been there.
Mhm.
You know, I found some beets in the back of my fridge the other day that I forgot about. You don't even want to, that was a science experiment happening in there. But we've all been there. Again, no one's going to get it 100% perfect all the time, but
Mhm.
he decided, what if I put these apples in a bowl on the counter?
Mhm.
Like, simple switch, but let me put them where I can see them, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, he's eating apples every day now. He's
Mhm.
always reaching for an apple. So it can be literally that simple.
Mhm.
I tend to, so much of our produce comes all packaged, like it's trapped in these,
Mhm.
the clementine boxes with that mesh over top and stuff. I get all that stuff out and I throw it
Mhm.
in, it doesn't have to be pretty, but I throw it in sort of functional open bowls so that I
Mhm.
can literally grab from the fridge. I don't know if you have any hacks like that you do at home, Caitlin.
Yeah, definitely putting things. So whenever you look in the fridge, I find I look at a specific shelf. I always look at the middle shelf. Nothing
Yes.
else, just the middle shelf.
Yes.
If it's not on the middle shelf, it doesn't exist. Um, so that's where I put things. So I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where that is. Yeah.
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 Can
Excellent.
totally relate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first one, is make it convenient.
Mhm.
The second one, James talks about essentially inverting that rule and making it inconvenient. So you want to make it inconvenient to eat unhealthy.
Mhm.
And so that can relate to, for example, Haagen-Dazs. That used to be my go-to snack. Um, but if it's not in my freezer and I'm
Mhm.
having, a hankering for ice cream, I tend to not have the energy to get in my car, drive to the store, go down the aisle and get it, right?
Yeah.
So then it doesn't get eaten.
Mhm.
Whereas if it's in the freezer, it's gonna get eaten. So, I mean, it sounds simple, but that's the whole thing with life changes, is everyone thinks there's some sort of secret code to unlock, and it's not. It's making small sound decisions every day, right?
Mhm.
Consistently.
Yeah.
So, I don't put unhealthy things in the cart, and
Mhm.
then that way they don't come home, and then that way, they're not getting eaten.
Mhm.
So making it as inconvenient as possible to eat unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely I love that too because I mean, people are all about the convenience, right? You drive to the drive-through, you pick it up, you bring it home, it's already done. Um, but just exactly what you're saying is when you have prepared food at home, it becomes very inconvenient to go and do that because you're like, well, I have it right here. Might as well just use what I have.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
So the I still get hungry at night. Like I'm watching a movie and I still want something. And now all I have is Brazil nuts and pumpkin seeds. And you'll see me late at night just, pound, like straight in the bag, straight in the mouth, pounding it back, right? Uh, but, oh, okay. Is that so, is that horrible? Like, everything's relative, right? Like, to me, there's much worse things I could be, you know, eating, right?
Exactly.
Those things have fiber, those things have nutrients, they have minerals, they have, it's still fuel for your body. So,
That's right.
uh, yeah. So let me see what number three is. Oh, yeah. All right. This is a good one. So, I think the downfall of this whole, New Year's resolution thing is people expect to make a really radical change to sort of every aspect of their life
Yeah,
in one go, right?
definitely.
And
I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna do yoga. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna change my entire diet. Uh, yeah, no, definitely not.
It's so overwhelming. Like
Mm,
it, yeah. And the same as goes for food. So
mm,
making micro changes, I call them.
yeah.
So tiny little changes. I remember when I started changing my eating, I didn't even tackle sort of all the food groups at once. Like and you can also sort of do it in a gradual way. Like for example, I've been thinking a lot about how to help people that drink pop and have
Mm,
pop in the house,
yeah.
which I'm sorry, but the nutrient value on that is like in the negative, right? You're not
Mhm.
getting much goodness in a can of Coke.
Yep.
But to say I'm never going to drink Coke again ever and only lemon water now,
Right.
to me it's extreme,
Mm,
right? Like your body, your mind, everything has been acclimated to that pop. So I say, try kombucha, try some carbonated water, try like there's tons of bubbly even
mhm.
bubbly and aha, and there's tons of brands now that are putting out healthier
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really good, is it the best? Do I want you to drink 12 cans a day? No, but that's
Mhm.
not the we're thinking we're playing the long game, right? And trying to make this a really sustainable switch that doesn't make you feel that cringe of deprivation of
Mhm.
like I'm missing my Coke so bad. I don't
Right.
know if you have clients, that experience sort of the withdrawal from a lifestyle that they were, had been partaking in their whole life, right? And if you can relate that experience.
Absolutely. I mean, generally, when I have people make changes, I don't take anything away. I actually add things.
Mm,
Um, so, for example, if they're having Coke, because we're on that example, I'd be like, okay, you know what? No worries. But every time that before you drink the Coke, you have to drink a glass of water,
love it.
and just add things in until it just becomes exactly what you said, inconvenient, right? Because, the Coke has caffeine. And now if you're thinking of your hydration status, you're actually putting yourself in a negative. And then to put yourself in positive, you have to drink all this water if you're going to drink all that Coke. People are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drink like 4 liters of water just to drink like 2 Cokes a day. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, kind of is. No? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Something's got to give here. Uh,
Exactly, exactly. I love that. I love that idea of let's add in vegetables and fruits and then see if you're still hungry
mhm.
for the rest of the stuff later, right? I love
Yeah.
that. I
Hmm.
love that. James talks a lot about like life change happens when we essentially our actions every day, our small little actions that you don't really think about, that sometimes are mindless, those add up and compound, and those are actually votes for the type of person that you want to become.
Hmm.
So if you want to become a different person, and you want to change, those votes start to compound, right? And that's the beauty, is suddenly you go from someone who's trying to eat healthy to someone who is eating healthy
Hmm.
most of the time, and all of a sudden like you're healthier and you're the weight is dropping off and you have more energy, and all those little health concerns are sort of fading away, and your doctor's not as concerned anymore when you go for your yearly. Like,
Hmm.
it's incredible, really. And it's the little votes every day that we cast for ourselves, right? That
Mm.
eventually long term lead to identity change.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I definitely see what you're saying as far as when somebody says that they're trying to do something versus when they have fully identified with, like, I'm trying to go to the gym, or I am actually a gym goer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough. Like, I definitely work with a couple of people that they've been going to the gym for a year and they still are like, oh, I'm just trying to go to the gym. I'm like, how much more evidence do we need to put in here? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
But
it's yeah. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
sometimes people need more evidence that they are a certain thing. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm telling the person, dude, you're a gym goer at this point. Like you made it. You're good. But they don't see it. So it takes more, I think, for some people.
Wow, a whole year. That's a triumph, you know? That's a
Hmm.
real yeah, you're a gym goer. You are a fitness enthusiast at this point, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. But I know it's amazing what we can like I teach dance as my side hustle and I'll have people come to my class and say, you know, I'm not a dancer. And then I'll finish the class and they danced all class. And I said, you're a dancer now. And they're there. Oh no, I said, you danced, right? Like what qualifies you to, who's deciding you're a dancer? Like if you enjoy dance and you're dancing, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's all you need, right?
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, in the interest of time, I'll keep pushing forward to number 4,
Right.
which is this is a big one. So, um, our willpower is finite. So, a lot of people will look at, you know, well, even we can speak to your journey. I know, were in fitness competitions, right? At one point. So, you were
Yeah.
doing an incredible amount of dedicated work, you know what I mean, to get your body in like a top performance shape. And people look at imagery like that or reels or whatever in social media and think that, oh, those people must have a ton of willpower and discipline, right? It must be different than me. I can't, I'm not the same as someone who's so, you know, willful and dedicated to that. And the
Mhm.
truth is that that's not the case at all, and that for everybody, willpower is not infinite. So it means that if you're placed in a situation, an environment, enough times, right? And when we're talking about food, I'm going to talk about, you know, you open your fridge, there's a box of donuts. You go to a business meeting, there's a tray of cookies. You go to your lunch, you know, and you're exposed over and over and over again to the tempting foods that aren't as nutritious. Your willpower over that day is declining every time. Every time you have to say no to that. And by the end of the day, guess what we all do? It's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to have dessert or I'm going to.
Mhm.
So, environment dictates the decisions we make, right? In a massive way. And so, that's why I don't go down the pop and cookie and chip aisle at the grocery store anymore.
Right.
Like, first of all, I understand that that's not for me. And
Mhm.
second of all, I understand that because I'm a healthy person, right? That's the identity, the language I'm using. Second
Mhm.
of all, I don't enjoy the feeling of being of suffering and
Mhm.
and having to decide literally, you know, Oreos, no, Fudgios, no, can't have it. Like that's not enjoyable for me, right?
Exactly.
That's not a pleasurable shopping experience. So I just don't go down the aisle. Like it, yeah, it just doesn't align anymore. And I'm a foodie. I used to go down every aisle and spend 2 hours in the grocery store, like looking at everything, picking up everything. But
Right.
now, you know, it's just not my style anymore. It's not, it doesn't serve me.
Mhm.
So I think that, yeah, environment is going to play a huge role in your success or failure. And you have to put yourself in environments that are conducive to building your new identity.
That's right. And I do think too that that ties in with like your willpower is declining as the day goes on, and then by the time you get home, you're starving and you're just going to grab whatever's available. But hey, if you've worked with Megan, your kitchen coach, she's going to have like cool available foods that you can just grab and go,
That's
right?
right. That's right. That's huge. Even I try to avoid going grocery shopping hungry,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also when you start reaching for things that, may have not been on the list, right? So if that means grabbing a clementine or a banana on my way to the store, anything I can do to sort of, put
Yeah,
myself in a better position, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Our final
so
hack.
yeah, the final one. So when environments change, so do the qualities that determine success. That's a direct quote from James Clear. So, again, going back to your kitchen setup. So, my kitchen's completely changed, and I used to have a snack cupboard. Well, I'll say it. There was chips in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were gourmet chips, the hard bite ones. They're so crunchy and good. There was all types of things in there, and now that cupboard is full of rice cakes and like plain unseasoned rice cakes and sunflower seed butter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, again, just to reiterate, like, is your environment supporting your goals and intentions?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, because that's all I have to reach for, and so that's what's going in my mouth, And we need to lower the barriers to our wanted behaviors and increase the barriers to behaviors that don't lead to your future self. It's huge.
Yeah, I love that. And every time that you're in an environment like that, you are just reinforcing the person that you're becoming, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I want to also note, just because we talked about the quitters day, right? And a quote that's really, really helped me navigate those craving moments, those moments where I fall off, and don't eat the best things for my body.
Hmm.
There's a quote from Jack Cornfield, who's like a huge teacher of mindful meditation, and he says, it's really simple. It's not a deep quote, but he says, we can always begin again.
Hmm.
And if you carry that with you all day, um, it's powerful, and it can be, of course, applicable to more than just food choices, right? But understanding that, okay, you hit the 17th, it didn't go as planned. You missed the gym a couple times.
Right.
um, every single moment of our lives is an opportunity to begin again, right?
Right.
So um, I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, that there doesn't have to be this guilt and this sense of failure, right? That comes through. It can be like, okay, that was literally a decision I made in this moment. It doesn't define who I am, and literally in the next 5 minutes, I can make a different decision, right?
Hmm.
To say no thank you, or to um, go and get some more fruit to stock my fridge, or to suggest smoothies instead of Starbucks next time I hang out with, my
Hmm.
friends. Like every moment there's an opportunity to decide differently, right? Which is so powerful.
It is, and it really does put the power back in our hands to say, like, yeah, I do have the power to change the mindset, and to create these opportunities for building my environment, which is awesome.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what I'll have you do, if you have the list of your hacks, I'll have you read them out just one more time for everyone before we
Yeah,
conclude.
of course. So the first was make it convenient. So we talked about making it as easy as possible on ourselves, and that was the James Clear hack of, he put his apples in a bowl on the counter instead of hidden in the crisper in the fridge. The second was make it inconvenient. So that means make it very inconvenient for yourself to eat unhealthy. So, that means maybe not bringing Haagen Dazs into the house and stocking your snack drawer with tempting foods.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had number 3 was making micro changes. So we talked about how overwhelming and unsustainable it is to overhaul every aspect of your life on Jan 1, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's much easier to take small, sustainable steps, and even tackling one food group or one food item at a time. And
Mm-hmm.
just ramp, not even making a big leap, but, from Coke to bubbly, huge step. Then maybe in 3 months from bubbly to Perrier. And
Mm-hmm.
then we get into, flat lemon water as our sort of most of the time drink, right? It doesn't have to be so drastic.
Yep.
Number 4, willpower is finite. So understanding that your mind and your body is built just the same as those high achieving people. They're just putting themselves in situations and around people and in environments that are conducive to their fitness or health goals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're not going through the drive-through every day at Harvey's having to say, no, I'm just going to have the salad today again, right? Like, they're just not doing it. That's what's making it easier for them. And then the last was somewhat related. When environments change, so do the qualities that determine success. So again, environment is key, and it's why I really, really shy away from working with people through my kitchen coaching that aren't open to me peeking in their cupboards and drawers. Even if we work remote, because I'm building out a remote program. I've got a client that I just signed on. She's in Barrie, Ontario, so I won't always be able to be with her, but I'm asking her to film video of her pantry, of her fridge, of her freezer, so that we can really build out a place that's full of gorgeous, nourishing, delicious food for her.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Um, so tell everyone how best to contact you if they're interested in your kitchen coaching, the private chef, the projects you're doing.
Thank you. Okay. Instagram created by Meghan, LinkedIn, Meghan Légère, just as it's on the screen right there. Same with Facebook. Oh yeah, my dance handle is there too, Move with Meghan. And I will do a little plug for a phenomenal event that I'm co-creating next month in February. It's on the 23rd. And it's going to be a 5-course meal paired with a conscious intimacy portion. So kind of a very different Valentine's Day celebration of love and connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're looking for something other than roses and dinner at the keg, this is going to be epic. We're going to do some breath work, some eye gazing in partnership, and yeah, it's called Savor and Awaken. And then, of course, my meal is going to be epic. So I'm really, really excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone has followed you from these podcasts and seen like the food reels that you put up there, I'm just like, what the heck? Oh my, just drooling, like just anyways. Um,
Thank you.
so I just wanted to thank you, Megan, again for hopping on the podcast today. Really appreciate your input, your insights, and your wisdom, of course. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always a blast on here.
And we hope to see you guys again. Take care.